Yes. Welcome back to another stream. You got myself and Joey Boy here. We just wanted to come on, have a chat about what's going on in the world of football transfers. Obviously, I did a video yesterday. You guys, whoever watched it, you showed great love. You commented, you hit the like button. But as I said, we do want to go live as much as possible and just have a general chat. I'm seeing Beyond Belief, Darsh, and I am Guardiola in the chat. Yes, Hugh, come on the Blues. Let's get the likes up. Exactly, mate. Yes, Hugh. City won the treble, says I am Guardiola. City did win the treble. I actually bought, Joe. Do you know what? I bought off DH Gate, one of those fucking. It's a player fit jersey, right? But it has like the under the neck where it says like Istanbul Ataturk Stadium, yada yada yada, 2023. It has like the Champions League badges in the sleeves. So I'm gonna get that. Like I'm gonna get a frame straight away and put it on the wall behind me because anything off DH Gate, one wash. That's finished. That shirt's finished. So I bought that. 23 quid. I think that's a pretty cool purchase. I know I wasn't in Istanbul, but I was there for most of the journey. I went to Dortmund and Munich and all that. But listen, there's a transfer talk, baby. There's a transfer talk. 10 people in the building. If you're here and you can hear me, just smash a like on the stream. It's free to do. We're trying to get this channel back up and going, back and booming. We used to get like 70, 80, 90 people in our chats, and you guys can help us get back to that level. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel. It's all free to do. We would never ask any more of you, and we'll all have a good chat. Joe, should we start with the slightly older news? I think one we wanted to talk about just because it's of general interest in world football. Kylian Mbappe?
Yeah, it's probably the biggest story of the last couple of years, really. It's been going on and on and on and on about him wanting to go to Madrid, and then he signs that massive contract, which they never should have given him. Regardless of how good he was, you don't give a guy keys to the club, because look how it's turned out now. He wants out again, and now it's at a stage where, from what I am reading, from what I am seeing, he wants to go to Madrid, but he doesn't want to go yet because Real Madrid aren't going to offer him £1 million a week, so he wants to finish his contract. He wants to be paid his PSG contract that he's on for the next year because financially it just makes sense because it's so big. So that's why he doesn't want to go anywhere just yet, because again he wants the cash that he was given by PSG because they for some reason caved and gave him everything. And PSG aren't happy about that because if he wants to go, they'd rather get some transfer fee for him, obviously, and they'd rather sell him now. But Mbappe, again, you flip it and he's going, yeah, but I've got all this money that I'd be forfeiting going to Real Madrid. So it's a conflict of interest, really. It's absolutely wild, to be honest. It's good for us. If I'm looking at this at a City standpoint, it's very good for us, because if they get Mbappe, that probably means Haaland is not going to Real Madrid, because I don't see them playing together, because I don't think it's going to work. They're two big egos. They want to be the main man. They want to compete for Ballon d'Ors. They're not going to compete for Ballon d'Ors playing in the same team. I mean, look at Neymar when he was playing with Messi. The whole reason Neymar left Barcelona is because he wanted to be that main man. So I can't lie, it'd be good for us if Mbappe does go, but I don't know how this gets resolved, because PSG are kind of tied, because at the end of the day, Mbappe can essentially do what he wants because he has the keys to the club. He's allowed to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few thoughts and a few opinions on the Mbappe situation. First of all, the guy's a little prick. Yeah, Kylian Mbappe, I'm going to put it out there. What a knobhead. What an absolute knobhead. For anybody in the world, in any profession, to be saying, I don't want to go here or there yet because they don't have £1 million a week for me yet. Fuck off, mate. Do you know how much of a knobhead you sound? If they are his terms as to why he wants to leave now or in the future, what an absolute prick. I wouldn't want, from a City standpoint, I know John in the chat saying swap deal for Maguire and Fred. That would be a Man United move. Do you know that? I don't think he will go there, but he would suit Man United because they're known for buying dickheads. They just look to get in the big blockbuster names who'll come in and they think they own the dressing room. But with Kylian Mbappe, I mean, OT says PSG finally moving like a big club. It's a bit late in the day. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit late in the day to be trying to move like a big club. I mean, I put up a tweet recently, or I quote tweeted something. It was something along the line. PSG said something along the lines publicly. Your man, the president of PSG, said something like, we won't be taking the piss out of, along those lines, not word for word, but we won't be taking the piss out of by Mbappe. He's not bigger than the club, I think, is essentially what's his name again? That guy, what he said, that's what he said about the Mbappe situation. And I was like, you know what? You could have said that before you gave the fucker the keys to the house. Before you basically gave him ownership of Paris Saint-Germain Football Club, you could have said he's not bigger than the club. Instead, you panicked last summer. You offered him everything in the club. Fucking sporting director, head of transfers, head of recruitment. He picks the team type thing at whatever age he is, 24 years old. And now, 12 months down the line, you want to say, oh, he's not bigger than the club. Mate, he is the club now. Unfortunately, he is the club. Whether you like to run all those lovely buzzwords that fans want to hear, he's not bigger than the club or not. Unfortunately, Mr. Qatar, I don't know how to pronounce your name, he is your club. Kylian Mbappe now is PSG. And he's got them with their trousers around their ankles because he now can. He holds the ace card. He holds the trump card. He can do what he wants. He can run down his contract if he wants, go on a free. Or else PSG have to sell him and cash in, because losing Kylian Mbappe on a free is nothing short of disgusting business. Like, absolutely embarrassing for PSG. But the thing with his, from a selfish point of view, you kind of alluded to there with Mbappe, is I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man. Get that kid to Real Madrid. You know what? Hala Madrid, man. Go and get Mbappe, because you're right, what you said about Haaland and Mbappe. Haaland simply will not go to Real Madrid if Kylian Mbappe is there. And I know a lot of football fans in the world have this romantic idea that, the two best players in the world, which they are, can somehow play in the same team together if you change the formation a certain way, yada, yada, yada. No, it has nothing to do with football. It actually has nothing to do with football. It's purely based on the fact that they are brands. Haaland and Mbappe are brands. They're commercial assets to a different degree in comparison to everybody else in football. So for them to be in the same unit and their brands almost clashing to be the main brand within the Real Madrid sphere is not a good look for them. They don't want that. Wherever they are, they need to be the main man. So Mbappe, you go to Madrid, you be the main man, and Erling Haaland, your alleged dream of going to Real Madrid, it ain't going to happen now, Joe, if he goes there, is it?
Well, it shouldn't do, because, again, like you said, it's too much to have both of them, because not only are you thinking about, in terms of commercially, they'll clash, because I think they're both Nike. I think Mbappe's Nike. I know Haaland signed the boot deal, but I think Mbappe is also Nike, so that's, again, conflict of interest. And it just wouldn't work from a footballing standpoint. Like, it's like a fantasy dream, really, isn't it? That, put the two best young players in the world together and stick Vinicius on the wing as well, and then you've got this mad front three. It just doesn't work like that, because that's not how football works. You need to have players that actually work together, and they're a bit of the same, really. Mbappe's like a...
Well, where does it leave Vinicius? Where would it leave Vinicius if they signed Kylian Mbappe? Do you know what I mean? They played the same position. Mbappe's made it clear he doesn't want to be a number 9. He wants to be the winger. How do you tell Vinicius, who you just give him the number 7 shirt to? And in my opinion, Vinicius is the best winger in world football. I fear Vinicius when I play against him for Man City, or when City play against him, more than I fear Mbappe. Genuinely, Vinicius scares me more than Mbappe. So how does Florentino Perez or Ancelotti or whoever the main man is at the time turn to Vinicius and go, yeah, mate, you are sick, you are really, really good, but we're going to have to sort something out because the French Ninja Turtle's in.
Yeah, that's why I don't know which way this is going to go, because Mbappe has made it clear over the last season that he's been unhappy with his position. He's not liked playing for PSG with Messi and Neymar, because that leaves him through the middle, and he doesn't want that. He wants to play like he does for France, which is, off the left next to Giroud or whoever it is France go and stick up top. He wants to play that inside left where he can try and isolate a fullback, or, where he can stretch the pitch a little bit and give himself a little bit of space to run into. That's what he wants to do. And to my knowledge, now I'm not going to pretend like I watch Real Madrid or Brazil, but Vinicius Jr. is a predominantly left-hand sided player. I don't think I've ever seen him play on the right wing. So do they stick Mbappe on the right? But even though he's made it clear he wants to be on the left wing so he can cut inside on his right foot, do they put Mbappe up front? It's sort of how much does he want to play for Real Madrid? Because if he really wants to play for Real Madrid, then maybe he just goes, well, if I'm going to have to play up front, I'm going to have to play up front. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just, a sacrifice he's willing to make just so he can play for Real Madrid. Because if that is his dream, then I don't think he's going to let the fact that he's not going to be playing left wing stop him from completing that dream. But I don't know. It's interesting because that's one reason, as obviously there's a other bundle of reasons that he's unhappy at PSG, mainly their failure in building super teams to try and dominate Europe. They've completely failed at that. But another reason is the other egos in the dressing room. He wants to be the main guy, but he's got Messi. Well, he had Messi and Neymar next to him, and that put him in a position that he didn't want to be in. He was given the keys to the club. He was given everything, but he still wasn't happy at PSG. I think that kind of just screams how they're badly run. They are badly run as a football club. They spend ridiculous amounts of money and they cannot keep superstars happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see there's a bit of a revolution going on in the stands of Parc des Princes, PSG. The fans essentially want their old club back. They wanted to go back to be essentially what they were before Qatar came in, which was kind of a mid-table Ligue 1 club. Weren't really challenging for trophies year in, year out, but it was still their club, if that makes sense. It was an actual football club rather than what they are right now, which is a boutique designer luxury club. And the PSG fans are very unhappy, so they're protesting against that. But the thing with Mbappe is, I don't think the word sacrifice is in his mind. I know you touched on if he wants to go to Real Madrid, he'll have to make some sort of sacrifice, which, calling it a sacrifice, having to move position or play in a position that you don't particularly want to play in, to play for Real Madrid. Spoiled bastard, man. We're talking about a guy here who's demanding £1 million a week, and he must play where he demands. Honestly, the guy is an absolute tart, and I'm glad we have nothing to do with it. John in the chat wants Mbappe to United badly. Making the
That'd also be good. That would also be good for Haaland, because if Mbappe comes to the Premier League, that's a rivalry. He might stick about.
Exactly. Listen, once Mbappe moves to another Premier League club or Real Madrid, it suits us from a selfish standpoint with Erling Haaland. But listen, at the end of the day, my opinions are fuck that guy. Honestly, I can't stand players like him. He has the world at his feet. In terms of quality and all-round footballing ability, he probably is the best in the world. I just think his mentality is in the wrong place. I think his mind frame is in the wrong place. And like you said, his dream is probably to play for Real Madrid, but his first dream, his primary dream, you would think in a normal romantic world, would be to win PSG their first Champions League. He's Parisian, he's French, he plays for the national team, he's playing for the Paris team. He should want to win them desperately their first Champions League, not bleed them dry of the keys to the house, not bleed them dry of every penny that they can possibly give to him. I just think he's a wrong'un, man. I think he's a bad guy. It's because they keep changing managers. I mean, there's probably a lot more variables to it with Mbappe and PSG than we know. And Guardiola says about the managers is probably right. I'm sure Mbappe thinks the owners of PSG are dickheads and they don't know what they're doing. Hiring and firing managers, bringing in players, letting go of players. They're neither here nor there. So he's probably frustrated in that sense. But if you have the keys to the house, go and sort it out, mate. Listen, I've had enough of Mbappe now. He wrecks my head. We'll do Harry Kane, will we? Because it's kind of linked. I did a video yesterday with Kane or on Kane and how that's interlinked to Julian Alvarez. Bayern Munich really want Harry Kane. They keep going in for him. Thomas Tuchel really wants him. They're bidding for him. The bids, I believe, are getting rejected. They're not getting anywhere near the money Tottenham Hotspur want. Harry Kane, for me, must have given some sort of an indication to Bayern Munich that he's open to the move, or else Bayern Munich probably would have pulled the plug on their interest altogether. So there's definitely something going on. Is it time for Kane to finally march into Daniel Levy's office and say, listen, you short arse, I need to go. I need to go win trophies. And the reality is, what I'm about to say is true. I'm too good not to win trophies. Harry Kane is too good of a footballer not to win trophies. He can break that Shearer record all he wants. He can win golden boots all he wants, which he won't do while Erling Haaland's around. But until you win the majors domestically and potentially at a European level, you will not go down as a footballing great. You'll be known as a fantastic goal scorer. But unless you have the medals to back it up, you won't be up there in that category that he so rightly should be in when it comes to retirement. So first of all, Joe, Bayern Munich and Harry Kane, Thomas Tuchel, is it a good combination for you?
Yes, because it fills a massive hole in Bayern Munich, which is they haven't replaced Lewandowski. they have waited a season to replace him. They tried to essentially move a season with going, well, we're probably going to win the league anyway because we do that every year. We'll just go through this transition period where they'd stick like Nabry up front, or they'd stick Choupo-Moting up front, and it's like, it doesn't really work. It's either someone out of position or someone who's not really good enough, and that's kind of, that is one of the reasons why they struggle against us in the Champions League, because our defence, we defended brilliantly, but it was a lot of, they kept on going down the wing, and because we don't play with conventional fullbacks, they didn't really get any joy down the wing. That's how we dealt with them so well, because there was nothing through the middle for us to really worry about. So, yes, of course, it's a great move. It fills a massive hole in Bayern's team that they've needed to fill for a season, because they didn't go out and get a Lewandowski replacement. But I do have to point out, I did a quick Google search while you're going on there. He is going to be turning 30 in like 2 weeks. 2 weeks-ish, just under 2 weeks. 30. Big 30 for Harry Kane. Like, if he wants to win something, he has to get out. Like, he can't stay at Spurs. But I go back to the sacrifice point with Mbappe. He hasn't got that Shearer record yet. If he wants to win something, he's going to have to sacrifice that individual Premier League goal scoring record, unless he goes to Man United, which I don't think he will do. Because Bayern are the ones who have put the bid in and it's been rejected. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. He has, in my opinion, he has to leave. He has to win a trophy. He's too good to go his entire career of just winning the Audi Cup and having a couple of silver medals. He's not that sort of player that warrants that sort of CV. I think he has to leave Spurs. They're going under a rebuild. With getting in Ange Postecoglou, they're going through a little bit of a transition period. They're changing the style of football. It won't guarantee success straight away. I don't know whether he has the time that it might take Tottenham to win something, really. I don't think he should wait that out. I mean, it might sound selfish, because if Spurs lose Harry Kane, then they're significantly weaker, and it means we might actually beat them for once. But I think he has to leave. It's time now. It's becoming ridiculous, this loyalty that he has to Spurs. It's not worth it. It hasn't worked. But I think the one thing that plays on his mind, apart from the Shearer record, is just, what if Spurs go on and manage to go on a Carabao Cup run or FA Cup run next season, and they win it, and he's not there as the captain to lift the trophy? I think that's going to hurt him. I really do. So I think he's got a decision to make. But if I was him, I would leave to finally win something, to get a gold medal.
Well, that last point of yours is one that a lot of people, I don't know, do they choose to ignore or do they forget? But, I mean, you have to sort of consider, how much would it mean to him personally to win a Bundesliga, which you're guaranteed if he goes to Bayern Munich, compared to winning even a Carabao Cup with his boyhood club, Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham made him. He's become exactly what he is, England captain, England's top scorer, Tottenham's top scorer, on track to being the Premier League's top scorer because of Tottenham. So maybe in his head, he's thinking, if I can just stay here and hopefully we win something, even a League Cup, it'll mean more to him, like emotionally, to deliver that to Tottenham than it would to go off and win a whole host of Bundesligas and maybe a Champions League with Bayern Munich. Because if you throw Kane's goals into their already pretty good team, they'll have a pretty good crack at the Champions League, because they did create chances against us, but they just didn't score them. So they resorted to Leroy Sané firing missiles from 60 or 40, 45 yards kind of thing. But when you break it down to the fundamentals, I kind of agree with Dano here. He says Kane is a generational loser. I don't think he's a generational loser. I think Kane himself is a winner, but he's in a loser's environment. He's in a loser's environment. He does everything he can. He plays like a winner. He scores like a winner. I know people will make the argument that, in the Champions League final and the Carabao Cup final against us and that kind of thing, he didn't turn up. But I guarantee you, in a better team, Kane wins a lot of trophies. But I said on the Big Six last night, Kane's a fanny. Kane is an absolute pussy. He's a pussy of the highest order. We presented him, 2 summers ago now, with an absolutely once-in-a-lifetime golden opportunity. We said, we'll bid £100 million. I think we had personal terms, unofficially wrapped up. All you got to do is go and stand up to Daniel Levy. Go and say to Levy, no, I'm going to force my way out, transfer request, I'm not training, I'm making a big song and dance about this. I know it's not the way we want this to end because I love Tottenham, but you're not giving me any other option. I need to go and win. We gave that option, that opportunity to Harry Kane to become what he would be right now, a 2-time Premier League winner and a treble winner. He'd have a European Cup medal, an FA Cup medal, and 2 Premier Leagues if he'd shown a bit of balls back then. He's an absolute fairy of the highest order. So if we think he's going to do that now for Bayern Munich, I don't know. I really don't know. He must. I think he's actually doing. It's like deja vu. He's doing exactly what he did with Bayern Munich, or for Bayern Munich now, what he did with us. He gave us all the green lights. Charlie Kane gave us all the green lights. I think he's given Bayern Munich all the green lights because they keep bidding. They wouldn't keep bidding if they thought it just wasn't going to happen. So he's given Bayern Munich all the green lights. Yeah, I want to come. But what really matters is what he says when he goes into Daniel Levy's office, and he won't do that. He won't do that. Now, when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur, in my opinion, they sell him. Say to Bayern Munich, £90 million, and we'll take it. Because Tottenham Hotspur are stuck in this Pochettino, Mourinho, Conte era of we're losers, but we're the Harry Kane team. Tottenham have now brought in Ange Postecoglou, who wants to install his own ethos, his own style of football. He wants to win. And for him to fully transition into his own era and make Tottenham his own, they need to just let Harry Kane go. Yes, you're sacrificing guaranteed goals, but start something brand new. Start from scratch, build from scratch, use that 90 million, reinvest in another young striker who's up and coming, who Ange, handpicks himself. Give Ange the full reins. But to go back to the very start of what I was saying, Kane is a pussy. He won't do that. He won't do that. The only way Harry Kane, for me, leaves Tottenham Hotspur is if Bayern Munich or, I don't know, Saudi Arabia or someone who has the money will come in and give Daniel Levy exactly what he wants. Do we know what that is? Not a fucking clue. He's only got a year left on his contract as well. So how much can they really demand? How much can Tottenham really demand for Harry Kane with a year left on his contract? I know the hope will be that, they get through this summer without losing him, and then they have that 9-month period between August and May, between next summer's transfer window, to persuade him to sign a new contract. But that's a big decision for him too. That's a big, big decision for him too. I just think he's a fanny, man. I think he missed the golden opportunity with us, and it's tricky, man. It's really tricky. Any last thoughts on Harold Kane?
Well, coming to us would have been the single perfect thing for him, because for everyone involved, because Haaland is great and he's one of the best players in the world, but you can't sit there and go Harry Kane is more of a isn't more of a Pep player. He just is. He's just more of what Pep sees in terms of a complete footballer. I'm not saying I'd swap them. I wouldn't swap them. I wouldn't swap Haaland for anyone in the world. But at that time, Harry Kane was the fit. He was the man. And when I go back to the whole Shearer record and not wanting to miss out on Spurs winning the trophy, if he was to join us, that would make Spurs weaker and us stronger, which would decrease Spurs' chance of winning anything and increase our chance of winning things. So that, kind of gets rid of the whole Spurs winning a cup, because we'd be more likely to win more trophies because we'd have him. And he'd also be able to break the Shearer record. Now, granted, it wouldn't be at Spurs that he'd do it, but he'd still go down as the highest goal scorer in the Premier League ever if he was to join us. He'd still be able to achieve that record whilst winning trophies, whilst, still being able to affect Spurs' chance of winning a trophy by leaving for a rival. So that would have been the perfect transfer. But he said, oh, but I don't want to fight Daniel Levy. I don't want to fight Mr. Levy. I'll just sit here and wait. I'll bide my time. And then what happens? We go, you know what? We'll just wait a year for we'll wait a year for Haaland's release clause. We won't even bother coming back in for you, because we can't be bothered just messing about with this transfer. And lo and behold, he's now stuck at Spurs with 1 year left on his contract, with a few clubs circling. But Daniel Levy holding out for untold amounts of money, I'd assume, because that's just who Daniel Levy is. He wants to get the most out of it, but he won't get the most out of it. He's only got a year left on his contract. He'll be 30 by the time the season starts. You'd imagine Harry Kane, his injuries that he's had over his career, they'll probably end up catching up to him, so he's probably only got one big long-term contract left in his career. His next contract will be his last big long-term one before he's offered maybe, your 1-2 years, towards the end of his career. So big decision for both parties to make, but I don't know how this one goes, because I Spurs willing to even consider letting him run down his contract and lose him for free. Daniel Levy's a businessman. If he gets an offer, then might be tempted to take it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. My gut feeling is he stays exactly where he is. He doesn't move on. Listen, chat. Smash Harry Kane is a fanny in the chat, please. Smash the like button on the stream. It massively helps us get the numbers up and get the chat booming again for streams as we go along. Myself and Joe will go live 2-3 times a week. There should be, if we're not live, there'll be a video from myself talking about whatever's going on in the world. So smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and keep showing support. Now, moving on from Harry Kane, it's somewhat interlinked. It's part of the video I did yesterday, but I may as well get your thoughts, as of course you are a Manchester City fan. The word is from Christian Falk, CF Bayern, big German journalist, says if Bayern Munich, Harry Kane is a funny. If Bayern Munich should fail in their pursuit of Harry Kane, they will try and push Manchester City for a loan deal on Julian Alvarez. Now, Fabrizio Romano came out pretty quick after Christian Falk's report and rebutted that by saying Alvarez's camp is completely against, I don't know the words word for word, but they're completely against any loan move this summer, and they think he's in the right place. But I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Julian Alvarez, Bayern Munich want him. It doesn't look like he's going to go, but I suppose what are your thoughts on Julian Alvarez and his future? Because Pep, we did a stream about this on City Extra recently. We spoke about it. Obviously, it doesn't suit Alvarez playing that 10 role. We saw him fit in for Kevin De Bruyne. He looks like a lost dog when he's there, in my opinion. He needs to be a number 9. He needs to be up front, being a talisman, scoring goals in his natural habitat. But how does Pep do it? Pep said he wants to get Haaland, Alvarez, and De Bruyne into the same system, but then you're going to lose out on width. You're going to lose out on width if you do that. So how does he maneuver that? And if he can't maneuver that, is some sort of a move in the future imminent for Julian Alvarez, I guess?
No, I think it's nonsense to say that he's going to leave. He literally signed a new contract about 4 months ago. I think it's stupid to suggest that he's going to leave. He had, you said it on the video, I cannot remember. How many appearances did he have? 49 appearances, guaranteed. Again, most of them probably would have been from the bench, or half of them, probably around that. But you have to put it into context. He had 49 appearances in a season where he didn't have a summer break, and he went to the World Cup. Like, that is absurd. He's going to play more and more football as time goes along. We all just sat there and we were patient because we knew the circumstances. We knew that he'd played a lot of football without a break. We all sat there. I mean, people who obviously sat there and thought about it logically went, well, yeah, he's not going to play every week because he's probably, he's going to suffer from burnout. He's going to get tired as the season goes along. He needs a break at some point. So I'm expecting bigger things from the next season. He still chipped in with his goals. He was still an important player. He was happy enough to sign a new contract. So I don't see this going. I don't think we'd loan him out. I think if he was to go, that'd be because we got an offer too good to refuse. I think that's the only way we lose him. I don't think we'd loan him. Lose a player of his quality for basically nothing for a season. I don't think that would happen. So I think it's a bit of a nonsense story, really, but where he fits in the team, I don't know. Maybe he can progress as sort of in behind Haaland, maybe next to De Bruyne. I don't know. He had mixed success. He did at times look like he was just running around like a headless chicken and didn't really seem like he was the most natural in that position, in the 10 role. But at the same time, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not his natural position. Maybe it's something that he will get better at as time goes on. He is more of a Pep player. We saw it when we played Liverpool at home. We saw it there. He gets more involved in the link-up play. He's just better at it because, again, he's just technically better. He's a little bit smaller. He's, a little bit more. He can manoeuvre a little bit more. He's not as this big brute up front. So I don't know. That's something that I guess Pep's just got to figure out that. I mean, we all saw the management that happened with Haaland as to why he stayed so fit. He had his injury concerns, and he was rarely injured. I think he got 2 injuries across the season. He missed like 3 games, which is mental because he was labelled as this big injury prone. He was going to struggle, but he didn't struggle. He played most of the games, so that's because he was taken off. We'd get the game won, and a lot of the time he'd be taken off on 60 minutes. He'd be taken off, and Alvarez would have half an hour. So I think it's something that it's nonsense. To me, it's nonsense. I don't see him going anywhere. He's going to have a bigger part to play as the years go on, because we'll have to manage Haaland. He will end up getting injured, Haaland, and he's happy. He's happy. He's literally just completed. He practically completed football in one season. He won a treble and a World Cup. I think he's pretty happy.
Yeah, I think it's a nonsense story. I don't think he's going anywhere. But it did get me thinking about Alvarez and, like, I suppose what the future holds for him. I mean, we know Cheeky, and we know how excited he gets about, buying players at low prices and bragging about or making it look great about how we've sold them on for more. I could see if someone offered 70 or 80 million pounds for Alvarez, I could see Cheeky selling him straight away on the basis that we bought him for 21 and we sold him for 70 or 80, and that just looks like great business. I don't think, and I hope it's not anytime soon, and what Guardiola says in the chat here is it's a tactic from Bayern to pressure Kane by pretending to go for Alvarez. I think that's exactly what it is. I think Bayern Munich are basically forcing Kane's hand by saying, right, if you don't make your way to Munich, we'll turn our attention to Alvarez or elsewhere. So I think it's all interlinked to the Harry Kane thing. But for me, Alvarez, he's staying where he is right now. There's no indication to suggest that he's unsettled or that he's not happy with life at City. I think his camp are pretty satisfied that he's progressing nicely. The fucker's won trophies left, right, and centre for 8 or 9 months. I think his hard work is paying off, and I suppose we just have to be excited and pay attention to what role, in terms of on the pitch, Pep Guardiola sees for him. I mean, we know Pep, he's a bit of a mad scientist. I'm gonna put my neck on the line here and say, because we have a lack of midfielders, I wouldn't be surprised if Pep tries to evolve Alvarez into some sort of a number 8 or attacking midfielder. Albeit we saw it for small stints last season. It wasn't the best. He's still young. He can still develop. I wouldn't be surprised, basically. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see Pep try to play Alvarez beside De Bruyne, like kind of Joe said, or beside Kovacic if De Bruyne is not around. Because we don't exactly have a huge amount of midfield options right now with Gundogan gone and Bernardo potentially going. But I suppose before we move on to the Saudi Arabia thing, I want to talk a bit about Jordan Henderson. Once again, smash the like, subscribe to the channel, your support, guys. I appreciate all of you in the building right now. I do want to ask you a bit about Bernardo and Mahrez. Of course, Bernardo is not causing problems, but he's making it difficult for us to plan transfer-wise because he wants to leave. We're not getting the offer we want for him. He's not getting a club to come in with sufficient money. Saudi have offered him 500 grand a week. I don't think he's too keen on that, but he definitely wants to move. And, if he's going to leave, we need to go into the market. If he's going to stay, we don't really need to go into the market. That also has a knock-on effect to Riyad Mahrez, who apparently has agreed personal terms or given the green light to Saudi Arabia because there's a bid imminent there. It's confusing me, man. We had a chat about it this morning on City Extra, and I'm still none the wiser on how I feel about it.
Well, if you come to me for analysis, I have not a clue in the world because this is just confusing. I don't think Bernardo Silva will end up going to Saudi Arabia. I think he wants to continue in Europe because he knows how good he is, even though he's won the Champions League. The whole point of him moving is he was homesick. He wanted to go closer to home because he didn't like the weather. He didn't like Manchester. He wanted to go to a country with better weather and be a bit closer to home. I don't think he'd go to Saudi Arabia because it's better weather, but it's further away from home. I don't think he'd do that. That's his agent. That's Jorge Mendes trying to get as many of his clients into Saudi Arabia so he can get his big payday while it's still there. So I don't see that one. And after that, I don't know. Barcelona have signed about 4 players somehow already. I don't understand. I thought they were in financial trouble, but we'll move on from that one. And that was his sort of big dream move, wasn't it, Barcelona? So I don't see him going anywhere this summer. But then, what happens? What, does he just run down his contract and leave for free? Does he sign a new contract and just kind of you know, pout a little bit and just get on with it. I don't know. I really don't know what happens. I think we're in this sticky situation now where, because we don't know what's happening with Bernardo Silva, we already know the wing market is very, very scarce. There is very little there, which is why we haven't bothered to sign one, because there's just no outlier in terms of the wing. So we don't know. We can't essentially allow Mahrez to leave for 40 million or whatever that our asking price would be to Saudi Arabia, because then if Bernardo Silva does end up leaving, we need to go and sign 2 wingers from an already saturated winger market, which just isn't going to happen. So I think that's a sticky situation we're in. I think that's why, I think it was from Sam Lee saying the word is, we are very reluctant to let Mahrez go. We don't really want that to happen. That is all because we don't know what's happening with Bernardo Silva. Because if Bernardo Silva leaves, then, you know, it's awful. It really is awful, because he's absolutely fantastic. There's not a player in the world like him. But we'll then go out and have to try and find a winger in a scarce market. But we will find someone. I'm sure we will find someone. Probably, and definitely not the same quality, but we will find someone. That's why we're not allowing Mahrez to leave for Saudi Arabia, because we don't know what Bernardo Silva's going to do. We can't lose both, because there's just not the options in terms of quality that are available to replace both of them. We can maybe afford to lose one, but we know Mahrez is kind of okay with staying. We know Bernardo wants to leave, but we don't know if he's going to leave. It's a sticky situation. It's not clear at all, and I just want it sorted as soon as possible, because I've kind of grown sick of talking about it over the last couple of years. Bernardo Silva, every year he wants to leave. This club's going to come in for him. That club's going to come in for him. This is his price tag. They're going to try and pay this much. That's going to get rejected because it's not going to meet the price tag. It's tiring. It's boring. It really is boring. But I suppose you just kind of have to talk about it because it happens every year.
The thing with Bernardo Silva is, if he wasn't Bernardo Silva, if any other player was doing what Bernardo Silva is right now, we'd be livid. We'd be like, fuck this guy, he's taking the piss, he's messing us about. But because he's so good, and because the fans love him so much, we do. I love him so much because he's been so good for us. We don't want to get angry at him. We don't want to abuse him. We don't want to get angry. I'd never condone abusing any footballer, but you know what I'm getting at. We're not getting on his tits, basically. We're not getting angry at him because he's Bernardo Silva. But it's a really, really annoying situation. And LB even said this morning on stream, he's starting to get frustrated at the situation. He's like, we just want some clarity at this stage. Are you staying or are you going? Simple as. And if you're going, we said this morning, we agreed there needs to be a deadline put on it so we can pursue our transfer moves. We need to know if Bernardo's going or staying, so we can decide if we want to go in the market or who we want to bring in for what position, etc. Bernardo Silva is the main domino here in determining whether we dip into the market again. If we were to lose both Bernardo and Mahrez and Gundo all in the one summer, I tell you now, we're leaving ourselves in a bad position. All 3 of them will not be replaced in one summer. I don't mean that in terms of bodies. We could bring in more bodies, but refulfilling the quality that they have, all 3 of them would leave behind, we will not do in one summer. We will leave ourselves with far too much to do. So I'm just getting tired of the Bernardo situation, man. I think if he stays, Mahrez, there's more of a chance he'll go. Clinical says if Bernardo leaves and Valverde is actually available, then trust me, bro, perfect Pep player. I'd love Valverde at City. I would absolutely love Valverde at City. I'm a big, big fan of him. And he kind of is the only player in the world that springs to mind that he's the closest thing to Bernardo Silva in the sense that he can play right wing and he can play midfield. He'd be the closest comparison or similarity-wise anyways to replacing Bernardo Silva. Beyond belief, if Real are looking to raise 200 million in funds from Mbappe, we should test Real's resolve for Valverde and maybe even Vinicius. I'd love either of them. If you gave me the pick of 2 Real Madrid players, it would be Valverde and Vinicius. They're 2 of my favorite players in world football. I absolutely love them at Man City, but I don't think Vinicius is the type of player Pep wants. We know Pep has kind of moved on from direct, aggressive running wingers, which Vinicius is. He's gone for the more kind of ball-retaining Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, and even Mahrez style. So I don't know if Pep would like a Vinicius-type player. That's why he was kind of okay with losing Leroy Sané and Raheem Sterling too. But Valverde would slot nicely into Pep Guardiola's team. I'm Guardiola again. We have to look in Dortmund, Benfica, Atletico Madrid. Those clubs have been so good for us. That's the thing, man. You gotta trust the board essentially, because they've not let us down this far, really. They always seem to find someone. But I know I did say this morning on stream that you can't rely for 15, 20, 25 years on the board will always find the perfect replacement, because that's not realistic. You can't expect that, but you do have to just trust them, because they've not given us much reason not to trust them. So I'd like to think that if we do lose them, I wouldn't expect it this summer, but over time we would rebuild a very good team, even if it's with players that we've never heard of, which we've seen before, Zinchenko's, Jesus's, and these kind. But listen, Gabry Vega, yeah, he's another one. But listen, let's move on to the final topic, and it is the ever-growing Saudi Arabia story. It's something I've kind of been pushing to the back of my mind. I've not been paying too much attention to it. I know that a lot of players are going to Saudi Arabia, and mainly older players, but now they're starting to get the likes of, they're pushing for Mitrovic, Ruben Neves. They're bringing a lot of quality out there, but we want to talk about it because the funniest story out of Saudi Arabia so far this summer is the latest one, the man on screen right now. Jordan Henderson, okay? Jordan Henderson. Steven Gerrard obviously has taken over Al Ettifaq, I want to say they're called, in Saudi Arabia. And he wants Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson to join him out in Saudi Arabia. That's fine. That makes sense to me. That's normal. But they've offered him 700 grand a week. Yep. So, Jordan Henderson, let me say it again. 700 grand a week. Yeah. I spoke about Mbappe earlier on, looking for huge money and getting huge money and that kind of thing. I'll tell you now for a fact, people, Jordan Henderson, at whatever age he is, 33, 34, if he gets 700 grand a week, I'm finished. I'm finished with this game. I've had enough. I've had enough. You can't tell me the football is not going down a really, really dark route if Jordan Henderson is getting a contract of 700 grand a week. I thought it was outrageous when Man United gave Marcus Rashford, what was it, 350, 400 grand a week.
It's Henderson's getting twice.
Mate, it's mental. I mean, for him, personally in isolation, go get your bag. Go get your bag, mate. If someone's offering you that cash, go and fucking take it. But as a football man, which I like to think I am, stupid. We're dealing with idiots. Yeah, I know the Saudis, they're trying to build an infrastructure here, and they will. But they're stupid with their money. 700... Joe, please. Wow.
It doesn't get any better the more you say it. Jordan Henderson, 34-year-old, over-the-hill Liverpool captain. How man. 700 grand a week, managed by Steven Gerrard in the Saudi League. I'm lost for words. I really am lost for words. It's like, he'd be one of the highest paid players in the world, which is why I have no issue whatsoever with him deciding I'm going to sacrifice my morals because this paycheck is too good to turn down. I have no problem with it whatsoever. Financially, for his family, it makes 110% sense. Like, go do it. Go and get your bag. He's won everything. He's won one of every single trophy at Liverpool whilst being captain. I'm sure that probably wasn't in his wildest dreams. I'd say he's more than happy with going, yeah, I'll just take the 700 grand a week. The 700 grand a week. It is ridiculous, the amount of money that they are willing to spend. But they're not stopping. They're trying to get all sorts of players. But Jordan Henderson linking up with Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard, manager of a Saudi Arabian club, is... It wasn't on my bingo card, to put it that way.
I feel ill. I actually feel ill. I just think it's crazy. And Iptra says, and washed Fabinho 40 million transfer fee. I mean, they just get what they want, Saudi, don't they? They're just like the I don't even know what to call them. They just come in and go, we want him, boom, 700 grand a week. We want him, boom, 500 grand a week. And it's not even a case of they're just getting the washed players or the finished players now, like maybe Russia did back in the day or China did back in the day. They're now pushing for players like Mitrovic, who's still very much in his prime. He's not on the transfer market. He's not for sale. Fulham don't want to lose him. But Saudi Arabia are getting in Mitrovic's ear and saying, how does 500 grand a week sound, Mitrovic? And he's going, oh shit. And he marches straight down to Craven Cottage and goes, yeah, listen, you got to let me go. And could you blame him? Mate, there's 20 people in the building right now. Smash the like button. If Saudi Arabia want to come and take me and Joe and HMTV and all 20 of you, by all means, I'll take that. You come with a big enough bag for me, Saudi, and I'll go out there and stream from there. I'll stream on City Extra from there. I'll stream on Big Six from there. I'll stream on HMTV from there. You can have me and Joe. We'll get him out of his bedroom, and we'll both go to Saudi Arabia for that cash. I get it. But I think from a footballing standpoint, it's a dark route, man. It's a dark, dark route. I said in the Big Six last night, their next step, once they have enough quality spread out around the league, is they want Champions League status. That's coming. That's coming, people. If you think that's not coming, you're naive. They are not building this massive footballing infrastructure and sporting infrastructure. You include boxing in that for no reason. They want the eyes of the world on Saudi Arabia. The Champions League catches the most eyes in the world. They're going to want to be a part of that. And the main men at UEFA will go, these big money fuckers want to join us? Yeah, of course they fucking can. But then, civil war, people, civil war. How does Florentino Perez like this? No. I don't think Perez would like this. How does Joel Glazer like this? I don't think so. Because all of a sudden, when they originally wanted to make that Super League where they only really compete with each other, this band of brothers, Madrid, Barca, City, United, Chelsea, all this band of 6 or 7 brothers who only compete with each other, you're now little bro. Because big bro is in Saudi Arabia with a bigger wallet than you. And you can't compete with him because he's always going to have more money than you. I'm telling you, mate. I get it. If you're Saudi Arabia and you have all that money, you want to make yourself the big dog. Of course you fucking do. Why not flex your muscles? Of course you do. But for us, Premier League, I'm not so sure. Man. I'm not saying European football won't always, or the hub of football won't be or will be taken away from Europe. But if Saudi keep going the way they're going, at the pace they're going, trying to compete with them, mate, you're asking for a tough fight, man. You're in a tough fight. I mean, Jordan Henderson, 700 grand a week. You're mad. It's just fucking bonkers. And then they're trying to get Bernardo Silva. They have Ronaldo, Benzema, Kante, Edouard Mendy, Ruben Neves, Fabinho, Firmino, Jota from Celtic. Plenty of you won't know Jota from Celtic, but Jota is 22 years old, and in my opinion, he was going to very soon be a Portugal international. He was going to leave Celtic in the next year or two, in my opinion, and go to a top Champions League club. Jota, who's just gone to one of the Saudi Arabia clubs, he was en route for me to be a top player in European football. But Saudi came to Celtic and said, we'll give you 25 million for this kid who you paid 5 million for. Celtic went, yep, thanks very much. Jota at Celtic was on 35 grand a week. They said, we'll give you 200 grand a week. He went from 30 grand a week to 200 grand a week at 22 years of age. I'm 23. He's earning 200 grand a week. Just mental stuff. Mental. Saudi Arabia are here to stay, and they want to take over, man. They want to take over. Joe, Saudi, it's one of these topics that I think we're going to have to do more and more streams about, because I find it really interesting. I'm going to go research this shit now. Maybe not tonight because we got pro clubs to play, but as the week goes on, I'm going to research the shit, because Saudi and football and sport, it's coming for you. It's coming for all of you.
Well, to anyone, I've seen a few. I saw it before. It was Taron said Saudi ain't in Europe. They can't be in the Champions League unless it changes format. They have enough money to make anything happen. If they throw enough money at UEFA, they will be like allowed in. Like, let's not be around the bush here. They have that amount of money that they can go, we'll get one of our sponsors in quotations to come in and sponsor the Champions League and give you so much cash it'll be flowing out of your ears, and they'll go, yeah, right, then you can join in. Because they're now getting the talent again, like you said. It's not just the old washed over the hill players on Jordan Henderson £700 a week, like Ronaldo, and they're signing. They signed Milinkovic-Savic the other day. He's been linked to United and all these other big European clubs for years, and they've just gone, yeah, right, we'll take you. We'll take it, come on. They've signed Ruben Neves, who, again, he was only in his mid-20s. Jota from Celtic, he was in his early 20s. They're trying to sign, other players. They're trying to sign Bernardo Silva, one of the best players in world football currently. Like, they're not messing about. They just signed Benzema, who he had quite a down season, but he's the current holder of the Ballon d'Or. He's the current Ballon d'Or holder, and he's in Saudi Arabia. They tried to sign Messi. He just didn't want to go there. He went to America instead, but they tried it. They put an offer in. They're not going anywhere. It is a little bit scary considering what could happen. But at the same time, there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to sit there and go, well, I hope that this doesn't happen. I hope that they don't take over football because, I mean, maybe that's how other clubs feel with the way we do things because we're so good, we usually win all the time. Maybe that's how other clubs feel where it's like, oh, well, football's boring to us because the same team wins over again. That's what we've been doing for the last sort of 5-6 years. We've been winning again. So maybe that's how it feels. And I don't want that, but there's not much you could do to stop it. I mean, I'm interested to see where it goes because I think everybody was... I don't think we ever got this far with China and America. We got to a certain point with China and America where we were going, they're signing big name, big profile, fairly big profile players. That a lot of those were towards the end of their career. They didn't really sign too many of the big talents like your Ronaldos, your Benzemas. They didn't sign them, but they signed fairly decent, well-known European names. But it never really materialized. It kind of just fizzled out unless people started going there because I think China added a salary cap to foreign players, so it was less tempting to go over there because the pay packets weren't as big. And with America, it just didn't have the same infrastructure. It's not their main sport. It's just not as good over there. But then Saudi Arabia have just come in and gone, yeah, who's available? Who is available? Who can we realistically get? We've got too much money to the point of where we can spend all the money in the world and we'd still have some left over. Who can we get? How many players can we get? And I mean, I am interested to see, for as scary as it is, I'm very interested to see where it goes because how big can it actually get? Can they worm themselves into the Champions League, into the Europa League? Can they worm themselves into these big, what are currently European competitions? Will this be a start of the Super League? Because if UEFA go, no, European clubs only, doesn't matter how much money you've got, does this then start a Super League? Because the Saudi clubs then go and join up with Florentino Perez and go, look at all this money. You can have this if you just start this Super League and invite us.
Yeah. You're spot on, man. I think the only way a pause button or a stop button gets put on this is if FIFA step in and implement some regulations on them or rules on them. And I don't know anything about that. I don't know what regulations they can put on them. Is it salary caps? Is it you have to earn what you spend type thing, or earn a percentage of what you spend type thing? I don't know. I don't know what they can do. I don't know if they will do anything. I don't know. Is this what they want? Are they happy with the way it's going? Are they unhappy? Who knows, man? It's an ever evolving story, and we're gonna stay on top of it. I think we're gonna do more streams on this because I find it very intriguing. I'm Guardiola. You don't need to research Saudi football. I'm from Saudi and can help you with anything you need. All you have to do is ask. I will be asking, not tonight though. I'm Guardiola, not tonight, but maybe we'll do a stream in the near future or a few streams on the Saudi topic because, like I said, it's ever evolving, ever growing, and it's something we all need to be at least aware of. If you're a football fan, you will want to be aware of the Saudi Arabia project. This summer 2023, will be known as the Saudi summer because it's where they kick-started. This summer is when they really kick-started their project. They mean business, man. They mean serious business. Clinical. And the Saudi bread is untaxed, so Henderson is getting 700k a week untaxed. Man, go and get your bread. Jordan Henderson, go and get your bread. But it's crazy. He doesn't deserve. No one deserves 700 grand a week in football. But you know, it's the way things have gone. But listen, Warrior Union Mojis, good to see Mojis, man. Mojis 2.0 this time. Listen, we're going to wrap it up now. It was a good live stream. I genuinely, I really enjoyed that. It's always a pleasure to chat to you guys. It's always a pleasure to chat to you, Joe. And I'm looking forward to doing more of these streams where you guys get involved. I'll do videos, of course, too. Like I said, we're going to be making more and more content as time goes on. But this was a good stream. So we're going to wrap it up. If you would, on the way out, or if you're watching on playback, please smash a like on the stream. We want to get the numbers up. We want to get this community booming. We want to get more of you involved. And all of your support really, really, really does help. It's free to do. So just smash the like and subscribe if you're new around, and we can make this a great community together. And yeah, listen, we'll see you tomorrow with either a stream or a video. So turn on the notification bell if you want to see which one it is. And we'll see you then. Joey boy, you wrap her up. See you in a bit.
Listen to your heart. Tell me who you want to be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are